Is that the truth? But I have a comment about umbrellas. Oh, I'm Kathianne Lewis. I'm a minister here. My pronouns are she and her, but I have a thing about umbrellas. So I went to Costco, I don't know, Friday when it was raining a lot. The rain had really started to come, and people were rushing in and out of the building. Not one of them had an umbrella. Have you noticed that about the Northwest? We don't do umbrellas. No, I mean, at least I put a hood over my head. People didn't even have hoods over their head. What is this? Anyway, so that was written for someplace other than the Northwest. Really. But before I move into more ways that we can really acknowledge that rainbow over our head and that we can see it for each other and claim it for all people, because the rainbow is a beautiful sign of God's presence, I want to introduce to you someone you've probably seen around a lot and probably thought, I wonder who she is and how do I get to know her? Well, today you do. I want to introduce to you Rebecca DeVore. Did I say it right? DeVore? I knew, but Rebecca DeVore.
Can you hear me now? Oh, yes, I can hear myself. Okay. I am Rebecca DeVore, and you might say, that name doesn't sound familiar, but I'm getting ready to change it, and there's more information about that. I was introduced to CSL a little over 28 years ago, and I came on and off. I was kind of one of those holiday goers, got dressed up, came for holiday, and didn't necessarily come back. And then 9 years ago, I came back, and I wasn't quite sure why I was back. I sat in the back of church and listened to the talks and cried through just about all of them. A clear indication that I needed to be here. I knew I needed to be here. In one of those talks, I remember Kathianne asking to pick a word. Pick a word of what you want, just one word if you could pick one. And I was like, community. Just immediately came to my brain that I needed community and people in my life, because I'm sitting alone in the back of the church, right? I wasn't sure, how, but that was the word that came to me. And I have found community through service, through volunteering, and through meeting so many wonderful people here. A little bit of my history. When I came to Seattle, I landed in a retail management position, and that was my career. It wasn't my original plan. I always was that full-time manager running a store. That was my career, and I loved it. And about 2 years ago, I was working for a company, the Container Store, and they were struggling, and it was not a happy place, and it wasn't meeting my needs. And so I decided that I would make a plan. And that plan was that I was going to quit that job, right? Never had been an adult without a job lined up behind. But I'm going to quit this job. I'm going to take 2 weeks. 2 weeks will be enough to set myself right? Yeah, right. And then I'm going to find a new full-time job because I need to. My partner's opening a business. I have to have the full-time job because that's my brain. And I happened to be telling that plan when Kathianne walked up to the group, and I'll paraphrase Kathianne, but she said, no, you don't need to make a plan. Stop making the plan. The plan isn't for you to make. God has a plan for you, and you need to embrace that and let it unfold and have faith. And so, of course, that made me nervous because I plan everything. So I had to really think about that, but it stuck with me. And of course, she walked into several more conversations of me planning. But anyway, and the same thing happened. So the message was received. Thank you. And 2 years ago, when I took that plunge and quit the Container Store, I went into business with my partner. We opened a coffee shop. It's been great. It's been almost 2 years this holiday. And I was working kind of part-time, full-time-ish there. And I had this opportunity to also work with a friend who was a home organizer. And I thought, that'll be my fun time. Not that the coffee shop wasn't fun, but that I could be away and do my own thing. And I found myself, for the first time in my adult life, working part-time, 2 jobs, and having so much flexibility that it just blew me away. Because if you know anything about retail, you work 10 million hours. So I I was able to really open myself up. And guess what? I don't have a full-time job now. I didn't go back to that full-time retail position. And that was part of the plan. Sorry, hold on, I'm losing my track. And then I started to really find myself and think of the possibilities of what I could do. All the while I was coming here and taking classes and doing fun things, I started to discover who I was again. And this year has been a huge one. So, don't get cherry-eyed. This year I moved out on my own. I have my own apartment. I left the coffee business. I worked more in the home organizing business. And I said a new word with community for joy. It's like, I want joy. Whatever form it's in, I want joy. And so moving forward with that, it allowed me to say yes to so many things. And I had a friend say, you don't always have to say yes. And I'm like, but I like saying yes. I love doing whatever I can, which is probably why you've seen my head pop in and out here and there. And now I'm part of the choir. I volunteer whenever I can and whenever I have time. I'm doing my home organizing, and now I'm thinking, maybe I don't want to do it for someone else. Maybe I want to do it for myself. So I've been helping my friends here at CSL get their homes organized, which has been very exciting. See me if you'd like. And on the outside of that, I've become a Disney adult. That's my little costume today, Disney adult. I've been twice this year. Who would ever known I would have said I've been to Disney twice. And I am just really, well, I just stalled out there. Trips to Disneyland, and then I'm planning my first trip next year out of the country. I'm an adult and have never been out of the country besides maybe a little trip to Canada over the border. And so I'm doing all kinds of things and figuring out joy. So if you're looking for joy and community, this is the place. At least that's my opinion. I love it here. I love all the friends I've made and the new found family I've made. So thank you very much.
What I love is you look like joy. Where do you like to go in your free time? Where do you like to go in your free time? Oh, baby. So our theme for the last month has been Thriving is Natural. And the reason thriving is natural is because nature, without intervention, thrives. Nature thrives. And if we allow ourselves to feel one with nature, we too will thrive. I spoke briefly in my opening meditation / prayer, I don't know what it was, it worked for me, about Benito. And Benito and the Andean shaman live so close to the earth, and they do miraculous things through allowing the earth to bless them. There's something about feeling one with nature that I think is incredibly important, and we can learn from it. But today I want to talk about miracles as well. And the purpose, the purpose of getting to, the purpose is for us to get to expect miracles. And I looked up, would you hand me my phone? I looked up miracles. It's kind of a strange definition to go with the talk, but you go with what you got, right? A miracle is generally understood as an extraordinary event that appears to defy the laws of nature and is often attributed, I should say, to divine or supernatural cause. Well, if we use nature as our guide, then thriving is not unexpected. It's not an unexpected occurrence because nature thrives. The miracle or the unexpected thing should be that we don't thrive. It's natural to thrive. It's natural to thrive, but it's not normal for human beings. If everyone could thrive, then we wouldn't be having some of the issues that we have in the world. So I believe that the miracles, which I call awesome normalities, are natural. And I want to teach spiritual laws that allow us to let it naturally happen instead of how many of you think you have to make it happen or have to change to have it happen or it's going to be hard or it will be kind of hit and miss. You know, I had one last year. You know, instead of like an apple a day, it's like a miracle a year. It was a big one. It was great. I'm living off of the memory of it. No, honestly, why not all the time? One of the things that Monica, who is our executive director, and I have gotten out of is Miracle Monday, where we talk about what happened the week before that was abnormal, that went against the flow of things, and yet it was a beautiful and wonderful outcome, an unexpected blessing, an awesome normality. And because I've been using the idea of forests and trees, because I'm really learning from forests and trees, I'm really learning about that. And I was always on the edge, like asking people to go talk to trees, and having the trees talk, and them listening more to the trees than they do to me. See, if you just talked to a tree, it would have said something, and you wouldn't have had to have me just show up in your conversations 4 times. So it's what a work. God talks really brilliantly through trees. But I'm also looking at the forest and how the forest is such a cooperator. It's a co-op. It's everything contributes to everything. And so I'm really learning from that. So if we look at trees, we understand that expansion equals thriving for a tree. Expansion. The roots go deep into the ground. They seek out the water, they seek out the minerals, and they seek out the security, the base. Because right now, trees with not a lot of root structure are going to topple over. Because winds are coming, baby. Not winter are coming, but, well, winter's coming, and with it, the fall comes the wind. So they got to have roots. Also, the limbs reach up to the light. Now, if it's in a forest, they go straight up so they can be the highest so they can get some light. If they don't have a lot of trees around them, then they reach out so that they can have more of a circumference of their root, I would say, their leaf base, so that they can capture more sun. It's all about expansion. And they don't make themselves wrong for it. And yet, I look at the human equivalent of this. Are we really willing to reach out beyond where we were? And I say that, and I think, there's probably yeah, and yet I talk to people individually, and there's kind of a collective hesitancy. We don't want to stand out too much. See, if we were going to be a tree, we would reach for new dreams, new experiences, and new challenges, and delight in expansion. We would also dig deep into our recognition of God as the solid ground upon which we live from. So we would go high and we would go deep. And there's just like a in the room. But often we don't challenge our own status quo. How many of you know you don't challenge your own status quo? Thank you. I wanted to make sure I was talking to a few people. We don't challenge it because sometimes the status quo isn't bad, so don't rock the boat. And then we don't foster our own connection to the divine, and we need to foster our connection to the divine before we need it. See, how many of you have had an emergency and really wanted to seek out somebody, like in a prayer circle or in the back? All of a sudden, prayer is necessary. By the way, I will make a plug right now. We have wonderful prayer practitioners available to pray with you after second service. Now, why after second service and not first service? It's because we need to use this sanctuary to do it in. But if you would like some solid prayer support, one-on-one with somebody, it will happen today. And they're called tune-ups, because we all need a little tune-up. I take my cars in twice a year, so why not me go to see somebody twice a year? So that's my little plug. There we go. I'm back. But what if we were always fostering our connection so that when the winds come up, we're taken care of. We know that we don't have to panic. We don't have to grab for something because we've already established our deep connection to the divine. So how do we do that? That's my job. My job is to inspire and empower you to have a deeper, more personal, more intimate, more loving, more intelligent connection to your God. And when I say your God, I mean it because it's personal to you. It's personal. God, Ernest Holmes said, the universe or God or whatever you want to call it is a principle of goodness that personalizes itself to the individual. So your connection will be different than someone else. So if you talk to somebody else about their experience of God, it's not going to be your experience of God because it's so personal. My God has a sense of humor. My prayer will be answered, but it will be in such a slidey kind of weird way. It's like I just, you didn't think I'd do it. I just know. But that's my experience, and you need your experience, so you don't need it unless you want to thrive all the time, go from glory to glory, to die to the old and be reborn into a new experience of your life every day. Unless you want that, you don't need God. You can have, just nice ideas about it. So my desire is to help us always establish that so that thriving's normal, natural, and available to all of us. So what do we do? One, realize that all is energy, and energy takes form, and energy has a vibration. Quantum physics, don't need to go there, I've talked about it recently. We are more empty space than we are solid, according to quantum physics. We are energy taking form, and yet that energy always vibrates at a different level. So this goes back to a whole month of talks I did on the teachings of David R. Hawkins, where we vibrate from, our main frequency, where we're calibrated at, creates how we see the world and how the world responds to us. If we kind of get that, then we go beyond a simple affirmation or request, because God's not going to change. Ernest Holmes said this: we don't pray or treat or whatever we do, however you want to connect to the divine. In that connection, we do not change God. We change ourselves. And we change ourselves so that we're vibrating at a higher level, perhaps the level of sufficiency, which is God, the level of abundance, which is God, the level of love, which is God. We shift and change, and therefore things shift and change, because the universe is a mirror. Who you are is the attractor, and David R. Hawkins talks about this. You are the attractor of what you receive and experience. And so we can proclaim that we are abundant, we are love, and we are all sorts of other things, but if we vibrate at the level of I need, I can't, I won't, I'm afraid, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, maybe later. How many of you vibrate at maybe later? How about if you should do something spiritually, but maybe later? How many of you say, well, but I need to have a little more information? I'll take a class. Oh, do take a class. But the class is only to always up-level your vibration. And yet there's a thing called grace, which gives you the vibration anytime you're willing to have it. Grace is the vibration of the free givingness of God. Even on David R. Hawkins' calibrations of I'm going to say my words, calibrations of vibrations, there's love, but above love, there's blessedness and bliss. That sense of joy, of rightness in the world for no reason. See, the normal mind, the normal human being walks around with, I will be that way when. How many of you got the when going on? I'll be there when. I'll be there if. And yet in God, there's no time or space. So what do we do? How do we shift that? We shift into the realization, take a deep breath, of contentment. Now, I just heard it. Somebody's mind is going off, well, I can't be content because. How can I be content when? How can I be content because? When? Because? To be okay is a high holy state because it puts you in neutral instead of reaction so that you can move into creation. As long as we're in reaction, we're not creative. We're just, like playing, I don't know, I've never played this, but I'm going to use this anyway. Pickleball. You're just working with what is thrown at you. I don't know if you do it that way, but anyway. It's just respond. Contentment is, I'll respond when I'm ready, and then I'll serve. How do we get there? So many ways, and I hope that we continue to find more ways to support you in this. One is meditation. To just breathe, let your breath calm the nervous system, calm thought. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to just shift out of reaction to just being where you are. The one that I like to use is just looking up. It's hard to be worried, distressed, fearful when I look up 45 degrees. Something happens when that happens. But that's actually too simple, and so some people don't want to use it. Because, nothing's happening here. At least when I'm breathing, I'm breathing. The ego, look at me, breathe well. Look up, breathe, look up, go out into the woods, the forest. There's proof that forest, what the Japanese call forest bathing, they call it forest bathing. They go out to the woods. You come back with better memory and a more peaceful mindset. And then gratitude. What are you grateful for right now? What are you grateful for right now? Maybe that we're not getting rained on. Maybe that if you need it, you have an umbrella. Just start where you are and be grateful and be grateful and be grateful. It will start to lead you to that vibration of contentment. Number 2, believe in your hope for a greater good, because we all do hope. If we really listen to our heart, we have a hope. There's a hope for something. We do. Even if it's a small thing, we don't judge it, we just listen to the hope. We listen to the hope. I'm looking at Marilyn, and Marilyn's got such an open heart for communities beyond herself, animals beyond herself. I bet she hopes that old dogs get homes. I bet she hopes that people that are in need of food, which is going to happen big time pretty soon, according to the news, that they get fed. There's a hope, and that hope needs to be cherished, cultivated, nurtured, not cast aside. But I want to tell you that hope is a universal trait. It's what tells the tree to go deep and go high, because it hopes to thrive. And it knows what to do to thrive. So first, just keep cultivating it. And last week I talked about the words that we use to cultivate that hope. That's last week's talk. You can find it on YouTube. Go ahead and watch it. But pictures are also important. Why? Because the right brain functions in pictures, and you've got to get your whole self involved. How many of you have affirmed yourself just affirmed. And nothing happened? How many of you have affirmed something and didn't happen? It's because you're only using half your brain and not even your whole self, because the right brain functions in pictures, and I'm going to tell you about the other part in a minute, but if you don't see yourself in it, it's not going to happen. You know, when I first learned about this, I was told to visualize something, and I visualized things, and they were off there all over. You visualize something, you see it, you see it, you see it, you've got it, but I didn't see myself in it. The difference is to see yourself in it, to be there. That makes a difference. And for those of you, how many of you, and it's true, I know that there are some people that don't naturally see pictures. How many of you, anybody not naturally see pictures? Like if I said visualize, you'd say I don't see images? Oh, first service, bless you. The visualizers are here. I put this in here, this other thing, because some people just can't imagine, they don't imagine through pictures. Well, let's then just step it up one. Let's also do the auditory part. Here's a game to play. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, great. Now imagine a friend of yours talking to you and complimenting you and praising you and acknowledging you for having the success you're having, accomplishing what you wanted to accomplish. Hear them celebrating you. So we not only put ourselves in the example or the life that we want to live, we then hear people talking about it. Auditory. Great, thank you. So play with that. It's a little game. You know, it's called spiritual gossip. Hear somebody talking about you in the affirmative. Wow, I'm so grateful that you got this great job, and finally you're making all this money and working half time. Also, I'll tell you, you know who changed my life so much was Don Beatty. He was in a practitioner class with me, and out of nowhere he said, what I really want to do is work half the time and make twice the money, and he did. And I still that's a way to live. That's if you take that on, you heard it, now you imagine it, and you live in it, then thank Don Beatty later, okay? Let's do that. So, which is also, by the way, a good reason to have a prayer posse. So you not only ask them to pray for you, then you get to hear them go, yay, we did it. This is so powerful. Have people that are praying for you and acknowledging you when you have a success, because how many of you have a hard time bragging? Just a few of you? Like, who do we do it to? I used to only brag to my mother, and now she's dead. So who do I, and Tim doesn't want to hear it, so... But it's important to have somebody to brag to. One person you can celebrate your celebrations with. I mean, we have people that we seek comfort from. Why not people that we seek applause from? It doesn't have to be the whole world, but at least one person or a group of people. Next, besides seeing and hearing, that's still not good enough. You want a miracle? You have to feel it. How do you feel when someone is celebrating your success? How do you feel when you're experiencing that success? Because we've got an analytical language part of our brain, and we have a visualization creative part of our brain, and then we have our whole nervous system that feels. If we don't bring the feeling into it, it's just sitting there. Feeling is the spark plug that gets it rolling. So you can affirm and visualize like crazy, but if you don't have the feeling, it's just another thing. So I've told this story before, but I want to break it down. There was a time don't judge me, I was young. I wanted a Corvette. I had a nice house, I had a nice husband, we traveled a lot. But I wanted a brand new Corvette because they just changed the style. And I saw that Corvette on an automobile, one of those, remember when magazines were a thing? I know maybe you've never seen some of them. But anyway, so it was auto something, and there was this white Corvette on the front page. What did they call it? The cover of the magazine, and I just fell in love. And it represented a whole bunch of other stuff, by the way. But anyway, I became obsessed, and I was a religious scientist, and I knew how to work this stuff. I mean, I'd worked this stuff, and it was really going good. But I didn't have the money to buy this by myself. So I did everything. I affirmed I had a Corvette. I put pictures of white Corvettes all over the place, on the refrigerator, all over my office. Everybody laughed at me. And I was especially put it on the refrigerator so that my husband had lots of money, could see this white Corvette. Nothing. I'm not buying you no Corvette. I mean, come on. What? Anyway, so I finally got to the place where I was driving to work in my Toyota. And all of a sudden, I felt myself kind of shift, because you kind of sit like this, and my legs went out, because you kind of go like that. And I was like, oh yeah, this is my Corvette. And all of a sudden, I was content having that make-believe Corvette. I had pictured myself in it, but the feeling was, I have it. And I'm happy having it. And it's like, I want you to get this. When you get there, it's like putting in GPS. You know you're going to get there, and you're perfectly content with the steps that it takes. Did you see the difference? And it doesn't, I have GPS in my car and on my phone, but it doesn't go until you say go. The go is, I'm already there. When you're already there, the universe takes over and says, turn here, do this, do that, do this, do that, and then you arrive. That was a Tuesday. By Saturday, I was driving my new Corvette. Somehow, my husband changed his mind. Oh, sigh. Oh. And then we got divorced, and I had to do things on my own, but it's okay. It still worked. Actually, what's really wonderful is that I learned so much in being married to him that I could love him and bless him, and we went our separate ways. And what I took from him was not any money, and I could have taken a lot. What I took was the consciousness of having. And that's what served me. That's what served me. A way that you might want to do that, and I want to just play with this, is go to sleep having the day that you'd have if you were living in your hope. Go to sleep thinking, wow, what a great day. 5 more dogs found homes. Like, just go like it happened. Like, go to sleep as it had happened. Wake up like it's going to happen. And then practice going through the day like you expect every phone call to be an adoption. I'm helping. I mean, there's not going to be any old dogs left in Seattle without a home. But you and me together, baby. Okay. Does he got the idea? All right, let's do it. Name in your mind, name a good that you want to have, that you hope for. Now, move into not need, but contentment in this moment. Because sometimes we have a hope and we go into I don't have. Don't go there. Vibrate at contentment, fullness, satisfaction in this moment. Vibrate there. Now, see yourself living your hope, and feel yourself living your hope. And then hold that, and I speak the word of fulfillment, knowing that not only our word, but our vision and our internal experience puts the law of cause and effect into motion. And each and every one of us can wait with glad anticipation the fulfillment of this prayer and meditation. It is done. It is done. It is done. Now, holding yourself in that hope, together, not say, and so it is. Let us say, it is done. It is done. And so it is.